coming your way over the next couple of days. So let's take a look at that setup. Carl was mentioning a lot of that rough surf along the East Coast. We've got this deep tropical moisture in place. We have a stalled front as well. Really not going to be moving much at all throughout much of the week. And then we have high pressure well to the north of us. So that's just kind of keeping everything going here. So periods of showers and storms, rounds of them coming in throughout much of the week here in Florida, and that tropical moisture is very plentiful. Lower pressure here off in the Gulf. We've got that strong high to the north, so that flow is going to be onshore throughout much of the week, again causing some rough surf and possibly some coastal flooding as well. So from Port St. Lucie up to the Space Coast here, Daytona Beach, and then now a coastal flood warning for St. Augustine. Can't forget the St. Johns River also compromised potentially here with some flooding concerns as well. Here in South Florida, more showers and storms for today, and then tomorrow looking at much of Florida getting those rounds of storms coming your way. Some thunderstorms, but mainly the rain's going to be piling up here throughout the week, and that's going to be our concern, as well as those rough waters, particularly in the northeastern section of Florida, right along the coastal areas there. So definitely don't want to be getting out in the water. Any of those places, you're going to want to not get in the water. It's going to be a little bit rough out there over the next several days. Our pattern setting up like this. We've got this high pressure here to the north of you, low pressure here. So this gradient in between is going to keep those onshore winds flowing throughout much of the week. Very breezy, gusty at times, and possibly even a little bit of coastal flooding with those tidal cycles, also a full moon coming into play as well. So again, it's just going to be rough along the waters there along the East Coast over the next few days. A moderate rip current risk for you in Charleston, all the way back down the Space Coast into South Florida, where we see a bit of a higher risk of those rip currents as well. But even on the western side of Florida, looking at a low risk of rip currents. So again, just kind of stay out of the water if at all possible. Here's a look at some of those winds we're expecting with this. As we look at their clock here, this is noon, and then we'll see like some of those winds start to increase a little bit by the time we get into the later hours. Here in Melbourne, up around 25 miles per hour. This is around 11 o'clock this evening, 10 to 15 there in Jacksonville. A little bit stronger here in Boca, 20 to 25. But the thing is, all of these coming onshore, that long fetch as we call it, and that is going to also pile up the waves here along the coast. Right now, the waves here around Hatteras, 5.9 feet. 5.6 here off of the Charleston coast. We've got 8.5 feet in and around Daytona Beach, so might be tempting for the surfers, but again, those rip currents are going to be pretty bad out there. Jacksonville for you, taking a look at your tidal cycles here. The next one would be around 8 o'clock this evening and then 8:20 tomorrow morning, and that's when conditions, of course, are going to be even more dangerous to get into the water. Mark? Plenty of issues still there in and around Houston. Unfortunately, we do have a wet and warm week ahead for you. Taking a look at the future radar here, noticing some rain working its way in throughout the afternoon here in Houston, likely getting a break, and then more rain coming in as we get into the late evening hours here. Temperature-wise, we're going to be up near 90 degrees as well, so very humid and uncomfortable conditions here for the next couple of days. Monday and Tuesday at least, look for the chance of the rain, possibly some thunderstorms, and then I think we will quiet things down a little bit, but we still remain on the hot side with temperatures approaching that 90-degree mark. I'll tell you where